Hello, surprise! Confetti, balloons, it's me, your internet coding host, Daniel Schiefman. And here I am on a special, I don't know, what day is it? Monday evening. It's been a long day at work and I have to leave to go home soon. That's what I do at the end of a long day at work. But I was working on some stuff and I was thinking, oh, my to-do list forever and ever and ever has been this thing. I gotta get to this, I gotta get to this, I gotta get to this. loadBytes p5.js. Here we go, look. Issue number 2674, implementation of loadBytes, assigned to someone named Schiefman. And I keep thinking, oh, I'm gonna do that. I was just thinking, oh, I'm gonna do this. Before I leave, I'm gonna make this pull request. And then I thought, why not? I'm kind of making this up because last week I decided I should do this as a live stream. So this whole story is phony. but if I go back to my fictional story that I've developed in my mind, I thought, you know, why not just go upstairs? The whole point of having this recording studio in the same building where I spend most of my time working is to go upstairs and turn on the lights and turn on the cameras and pull request with my friends, the internet people. Hello. So today's going to be a short live stream. I will mention and talk about what, I guess I can turn this music off here. I will mention and talk about my future plans for this week, which, by the way, spoiler alert, live stream coming this Wednesday morning, my time, Eastern time, probably around 10:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time for Pi Day, special Pi Day themed live stream on Wednesday this week, no live stream on Friday. So I will, I need to, I don't know, put stuff about that in places that people can find it, but that's my plan. So read the comments and say hi to us. I am reading the comments and I am saying hello to you. Hello! Hello! That's how I like to say hello. I think I pulled some sort of muscle in my neck while saying hello just then. All right. So here's the thing. I mean, I don't know what the thing is. Let me first let me get set up here for a second. Here, I'll put the music back on. Okay, what I'm doing right now is I am going to this example for doodle classification. So this came about because I did an example, a machine learning example about classifying drawings from the Google Quick Draw data set, and I needed to use loadBytes to load the data for those drawings, but loadBytes hasn't been implemented yet in P5, so I wrote a little loadBytes function. I put it in a JavaScript file called loadBinary. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm actually gonna grab this doodle classification. I'm gonna paste it to the desktop. I want to get rid of, there's a Git folder in there. Why don't I? Oh, computers. Put this back on. Will this do it? No? Oh, is there no Git folder in there? Oh, there's no Git folder because it's a subfolder. By the way, any of you ever use Subversion? Do you remember the days of using Subversion where you had a repository for version control and every single subfolder had its own .svn file? So if you move stuff around, everything would break and go crazy. Oh, that was a disaster. iTerm is coming. I get to stuff eventually. I really do. It just sometimes it takes, the buildup is intense. Although I plan to do more tutorials about open source software development, one of which is this one. I probably should really be using iTerm today, but it's just not going to happen. Yeah, I look kind of preppy. Oh, peppy, pretty. Oh, I thought somebody in the chat said I look preppy. I just can't see because I'm old and my eyesight is terrible. So it's pretty wound up. All right. I am, by the way, very pretty also. Thank you very much for saying so. I agree with your assessment of my beautiful appearance. Anyway, that came off not the way that I intended. All right, so what I want to do here is get rid of lot. And oops, nope. Nope. I want to get rid of train test, data prep. No, I don't want to get rid of data and the README. Okay, so this is just going to be load binary, load bytes. Because I need to have a working version. What's the chance? I need to have a working version of this code before I attempt to do any kind of pull request. Okay. Are you guys tired of this song yet? I'm seriously not. I love this music. But I really need a wide selection of music. If anyone watching is a musician, a sound designer, please help me. Somebody save me from myself. Just getting myself ready here. I don't know what to use. All right. Now I have a question. And while you're there, the correct documentation markup so it shows up in the docgen? Yes, I definitely want to do that. Am I going to include some unit tests? I don't think that I am, only because I don't know how I would write them. Are there unit tests for like load JSON and the other data loading files? I would if there's a model I could do. The other thing I'm not so sure about is I guess it's good for P5 to give you, the only way I know how to do it is to give you this object with bytes and this stuff in it. But you know, the pull request can be adjusted. The pull request can be adjusted. I just don't know if, you know, should loadBytes actually, I mean, in theory it might be nice. Another way that I could do this, well, first, hold on. Let me keep going with what I'm doing here. Because one thing I need to do is, in this discussion here, it was suggested by, further down here, by a contributor, LimZY Kenneth, saying using HTTP do is more consistent with the rest of the loading coding base, also makes any future development based on a promise easier. However, I don't think it's a must at this point, more of a nice to have. So I think I want to rewrite this function really quickly to work with HTTP do. So, and, hey, Lauren McCarthy just commented. Might have to lock this, unfortunately, because we'll see if hopefully people aren't out. Okay, so here is an HTTP do implementation. And so this is, oh, was there already a pull request with this in it? Oh, well, now I feel silly. Shouldn't we just be taking SpongeMan's pull request? Look, it has an example. Although I'm not sure I would use loadBytes with an XML file. loadBytes data to string, that's interesting. I wonder if I feel like silly, like I shouldn't be doing this now because, so what's going on with this pull request? Oh, this hasn't actually been pull requested yet. So this is something I didn't know. Okay, this hasn't been pull requested yet. So I think it's okay for me to go ahead. So what I'll do, I want to make sure I give credit in the pull request to SpongeMan here. So what I'm looking for, there's a lot of extra stuff in here that I don't have any plans to implement. I just want to look for the HTTP do. Yeah, let's grab this. So let's try using this. File callback error callback. I probably should have that as well. File callback error callback. This is not the code yet, really. It's me testing. Oh. What is this weird plus? Oh, it doesn't have a... Oh, I'll just delete these. I'm going to delete all these. I didn't realize I was going to copy paste all these silly pluses in. Unit test for load functions are in. All right. I think what I'll do is say the pull request doesn't at present contain a pull request. Okay, so let's see here. So let me just look at this. So this is calling HTTP do. It's passing the file, a get request with array buffer. I call this data. So data.bytes is going to be a new uint8 array with array buffer. It's gonna, if there's a callback, it's gonna call that back. Otherwise, it's gonna do the stuff it needs to do for preload. And if it gets all the way down here, this doesn't seem right. Like there should be, where would the, oh no, yes, HTTP do will call the error callback. That is correct. So I should be able to take this out. And let's see. Oh, it doesn't at present. Oh, so I do need to do more. Oh. Life is always so much more complicated than you think it's going to be. I'm like up here like, I've already done this. I just need to quickly come up here and do the pull request while I'm streaming, not realizing I have all this other stuff to do. All right, that's fine. We're going to accomplish this. Let's look at, okay. Oh, I see. So this is allowing for a path to be a string. But that's fine. Oh, I just need to add array buffer there. Okay, so I'm going to need to add array buffer. And then oh, use the fetch. Oh, oh boy. All right, let's accomplish this. Thank you. Thank you, Austin, for the function signature in the chat. All right, I can accomplish this, especially with your help. You over there, you over there, you over here. Everybody will help me, right? All right, so what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to comment this out. So I'm going to leave this HTTP do commented here, because first I'm going to get it to work with this. And I will come back to this. And I'm going to reference, I need this to be in the comments. I'm just going to put this up here. Okay. This, by the way, is probably not going to go very well, and it's fine. I'm going to try this. I'm going to give myself an hour, and something will happen, and then this will finish, and then something else will happen. I have a few things I want to make sure I reference. So I have this, and I have this, and I want to get to getting started, overview, reference, learn, get involved, development wiki. Okay, I'm going to get to here, and I want this basically, and then I also want this. Okay. All right. Just look at a different loading function like load JSON and make the code look like that, but to load binary. Okay, what could possibly go wrong? Oh, you know what? This laptop is not plugged in. I need the power. I need the power of open source software development. Where is that plug? Has someone taken my power? No, 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 no. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Everything's okay. Okay. So, I mean, I suppose I could just submit the pull request without HTTP do. Maybe I should do that, and like we could mark it as I could file an issue to like update it for HTTP2 later. Maybe I should do that. I think I should do that. The pull request could also just be canceled and not merged. I'm doing this for educational purposes. All right. You know, based on what Me I Am So Me in the who I trust dearly is saying, I think that I'm gonna run into trouble. So I'm going to do it without HTTP do at first. All right. Okay. All right. Let's everybody do some deep breathing. Let's read a few random numbers, because when I'm feeling uneasy about something and like it's going to go wrong, the thing that makes me feel better and calms me down, I need some nice quiet music. And I think the lullaby is just no good anymore. I think I'll just read the numbers. I'm just going to read the numbers. $71,695. 56,817, 33,742. You know, maybe I should read them this way: 61981, 27464. I don't know. 02468, 46987, 65079. Oh, I'm totally gone off my rocker with how I'm reading this. 32,859, 76,848. Okay. I think we're good. I think we're good. This needs to be up like this a little bit. All right. Now all I need is if only I had a train whistle. Coming soon someday, I'm going to figure out how to make Coding Train branded train whistles. Hello, welcome to a special video that's part of my whole set of videos and things about contributing to open source. So in this video, I'm going to attempt to do something that's not very advisable, because I'm doing this, and this is also a live stream that's going on right now, even though you might be watching this recorded. I am going to attempt to make a pull request to this project called p5.js. Now, if you don't know a lot about p5.js, I mean, if you watch any of my videos, you probably know something about it, but I encourage you to check out processingfoundation.org, p5js.org. All of those links are in this video's description. I, a while back, was creating a doodle classifier example based on the quick draw data set. And while I was doing that, I needed a function called loadBytes. Now, if I go to GitHub p5.js and I search this repository for a function called loadBytes, which the idea of this function is a function that I can call just like load JSON or load strings or load XML or load image, but what I want are just the raw bytes from a file, a digital file. If I search for this, you're going to find, oh, it's nowhere in the code, it's nowhere in the commits, but there are a couple issues about it. One of which is here under finish file IO implementation. This is from 2013, right? It wasn't finished. And one is from me 12 days ago, implementation of loadBytes, because I filed this issue describing exactly what I'm talking about right now and published some code that accomplished it. Now here's the thing. In the discussion here, there's some nice discussion here. LimZY Kenneth commented saying that using HTTP do, which is a function that's part of the P5 library, would be more consistent with the rest of the loading code. It's a nice to have. I'm going to submit this pull request without doing that, just with using my code that uses the native JavaScript XML HTTP request. Ah! Should have thought of that. Using the native JavaScript HTTP request, because I don't want to, because using HTTP do is going to require adding and rewriting the HTTP do function as well, and I want to try to keep the scope of this particular video small. Now it might be that later, it might be that this pull request doesn't actually get merged into the project, or I resubmit in a different way, but let's just sort of see if we can at least make it happen using this code that I have, that loadBytes. And the other point of this, I want you to be able to watch this and not really care about what it means to load bytes and how this implementation works, just to see the process of adding some new code to kind of a large open source project that has all sorts of dependencies and build settings and things. Let's see if I can figure that stuff out while doing this. In theory, I should know how to do this, but even if I do know how, I'm probably going to get tripped up and have all sorts of problems. I can tell that's going to happen. So let me say a couple things first. Number one is this wiki is going to be really important. This is on the p5.js wiki /development. This is going to have some instructions that I'm going to need to follow to how to build the p5.js project, which I'm going to need to do to test the new code that I want to implement. And then also, I would highly recommend you check out this video series from Luisa Pereira, where she created a video series called Looking Inside P5. I believe there's a Spanish language and English language, and these videos go through in great detail with beautiful animation, drawings and animations, how the P5 library is structured and built. So that will give you an excellent background to what I am about to attempt to do. Okay. So what is the first thing that I need to do? So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go right here to p5.js, and I'm going to go over here to clone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start fresh. I certainly have on my computer the p5.js repository already. I work with it. I probably have different branches and forks. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to clone it. I am first going to hit fork. So what I want to do is work in my own fork. So I'm going to hit fork. And I want to fork this. Oh, look at this. Let's fork this to the coding train. And I'm going to fork this to the coding train. It's going to take a little bit of time. Oh, it already finished. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone. And this is good because even if this goes totally haywire, maybe I don't want to actually submit what I do here to the actual p5.js project. I just want this to be a little sandbox playground for me to learn about open source. So here we go. I'm going to grab this. Now I'm going to clone from this particular URL. I'm using git at github.com because I have already done this crazy SSH key passphrase thing, which I would be happy to show in another video. If you haven't done that step, you might want to clone just using this, the HTTPS URL. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to hit copy, and then I'm going to go to my terminal where I am a weirdo who actually just uses the plain Mac terminal with no extra settings. I aspire to do better. I will do better someday. And I'm going to say git clone. Oh, wait, first I got to see where I am. Sure, I'm going to go to the desktop. I'm just going to put this on the desktop. And now I'm going to say git clone that. So this is step one. Step one is clone the repository. Oh, it's already done. Okay, great. Now, I have cloned the repository. Step two, deep breath. Step three, change directory into the repository. And then I'm going to open up all the code in a text editor. And I'm going to use the Atom editor for that. I have my computer configured in such a way that I can type Atom dot and it opens Atom automatically. And so now you can see I have the entire p5.js project here. So first what I want to do is, can I even just build p5 the way that it is without making any changes to it? Okay? I don't want to make any changes. I don't want to worry about my pull request and all that stuff. I just want to see if I can build it. So I'm going to go back now to this particular, and oh, I did this first step, right? Fork and clone, right? Fork and clone, fork and clone. I did that. Now I'm going to, oh, I did cd npm install. So npm node package manager install is a command that's going to, I have to have node installed on my computer. Check out my videos about node.js, but I'm going to use node to install all the other libraries and other things that p5, the library itself, depends on. So I'm going to say npm install. Now I'm really definitely going to have to wait. I don't know, do you dance while you run npm install? Not you. We could possibly edit this out, but I think people probably want to leave it in. See how long this video ends up being. I guess I could have a drink of water. Coding Train brought to you by water. Thank you so much for the sponsorship. I don't know where water is, but it's the thing that gives us all life. All right, this is pretty good. Oh, we got a lot more stuff to do. Woohoo! Keep on going. Oh, we finished. Okay. That was 33 seconds, and we added 1,584 hooks. And people are saying in the chat, what about yarn? You know, someday I'll, you know me, I'd like to kind of like live in the past for a little while. So I'm using, yarn is another package manager that you could use instead of npm. And apparently it's like faster and better for some reason. Now, okay, to create the complete library from source, run grunt. So one thing that I should emphasize here is that when I go look at the code, like where do I actually want to change the code somewhere, right? I want to add the loadBytes function. And all the code for p5 is all here. Color, core, data, events, I/O, input, output. Probably the code for loadBytes should go in I/O. And if I look here and I go down, files.js, maybe that's where it is. Let's look at files.js, and you can see here, is there like a, load.json is here. So load.json is here in files.js. So I just need to add p5.prototype.loadBytes to add that function. But the thing is, if you've ever used the p5 library, right, you don't have like a directory of all of these. You just have that p5.js file or that p5.min.js file. So there is a build process. It would be unreasonable to try to develop this big library all from one file and to be like, oh, I want to add something to it. Let me go to line 72,421. So everything's broken out into separate files, and then there's a build process. The build process happens with, where am I here? Via this other tool called grunt. What's grunt? Grunt JavaScript. Let's look for that. The JavaScript task runner. So grunt is a task runner that that you could configure to do a lot of things like run all the unit tests, check the linting for style, put all these files all together, minify it, all that kind of stuff that I have some video tutorials about in my GitHub series and my linting and testing series, but basically all the kinds of things that you might do with a JavaScript project, grunt is something that can allow you to sort of sequence all of that. And a lot of this work, I should say, was done by, pause for a second, I want to reference Medium Processing.org wrap-up post. How do I find that? Google Summer of Code, wrap up, post, medium, processing. This will get edited out. Here we go. Yeah. So where was I? Why am I? There we go. Okay, whoops. Okay. And a lot of this work was done by Sakshem Saxena for last year's Google Summer of Code 2017. We did a lot of work to improve the infrastructural aspects and operations of the P5 library itself, so all the sort of build stuff. So let's try now and see, can we run npm run grunt? And let's see what happens. Oh, this is exciting. So let's see if I can talk through the things that it's doing. Oh, ooh, okay, so what am I missing? Oh, I just said, I need to say npm run grunt. I just typed npm grunt. If I type npm grunt, it goes like this. All right, here we go. So it's running grunt. It's building some docs and the reference. Then it's running the min task. It's running some sort of typewriter. It's building it. It's linting it. It's testing it. All sorts of, oh, exciting stuff is happening. Oh, it's running Browserify, which is something that people do. And it's running Uglify, which is also something, but it's doing all these different tasks. Then boy, wouldn't it be nice, Mocha, to go through. It's, oh, look at the little kitty cat, and it's running all the unit tests. The value of x is 10. Boy, this is going to take a really long time. False, false. So it's going to take a really long time to do all this. I think probably I'll just be back in a second when it's done. Oh yeah. It's complete, and it passed. Everything passed. It was done without errors. So now we can start to add our own code to it. Now maybe I want to like I'm going to make a branch. So I think I don't know. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say git branch load bytes. I don't know if call it fix or add loadBytes add. That's a good name for the branch, I think. I'm going to add load branch. Maybe I should call it add loadBytes. Okay? So I'm going to create that branch, and then I'm also going to check out that branch. So now working on the code, I'm in a different branch, which is going to be helpful for me later when I want to compare, pull request, send that code. There's a lot of stuff that I'm kind of, this isn't like, if this is the first video you're ever watching about Git or GitHub or open source, a lot of this is going to be unfamiliar to you. Hopefully you can pause here and find some of the background links and come back. But okay, so I'm in a separate branch now. All right, now I'm just going to go to the code. I'm going to write some code. Code. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to write some code. I'm really stressed out. All right, so here's the thing. Let me give myself a little bit more room here. One thing that's interesting to note about P5 is look at what is all this stuff? Oh my goodness, there's like, this is just the load JSON function. First there's these comments, then there's some like crazy notation here. There's like, this looks like an example. So there's a lot that I need to do just to add loadBytes beyond just the loadBytes function itself, because I need to also make sure I include the documentation. And eventually I'm going to want to also probably add an example to the website and all sorts of other stuff. But let's do one step at a time. I think what might help us actually, amazingly, is let's use this load JSON implementation as a template. So I'm actually going to copy everything from load JSON like this. And I'm going to put it, I don't know if there's a correct order. I'm going to put it at the bottom. I'm going to put it at the end because I'm going to put it after, look at me, I'm just like scrolling like a crazy person. I'm going to add it after, before HTTP do, And I'm going to add it before HTTP post. Oh, this is very silly what's going on now. HTTP get load XML. So I'm going to add it after load XML, after load XML and before HTTP get. That feels like a good place to put it. I paste this in here. Now, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I'm in the right place. This is the load JSON function, and it's right after the XML one. Okay, so now I really need to rewrite this quite a bit, and I need to make this a little smaller. Can you still see this? Is this too small for you now? I think I'll survive here. Loads a binary file from a file or URL and returns an object with a bytes property containing a, so what is it that it's containing when my loadBytes function? If I run the loadBytes function, it actually creates this with this uint8 array. Okay, 8 array. Note that even if the JSON file contains an array and object, so this is irrelevant. This method is asynchronous, meaning it may not finish before the next line in your sketch. Okay, don't need JSON P, so that can be removed. Now the method is called loadBytes. The parameter is a string, which is name of the file or the URL to load, object. So I don't think I have the JSON P stuff that I don't need, a callback and an error callback. So I own a string, a callback, and an error callback. Function to be executed after loadBytes completes. Data is passed in as its first argument. Function to be executed if there is an error. Response is passed in as the first argument. That makes sense. Return an object. It only returns an object because the object has contains a uint array bytes field property. I'm going to say property. And then I'm going to say calling loadBytes inside preload guarantees to complete the operation before we can set up and draw is called. That is the case. Now there's an example here. Unfortunately, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take out the example. Maybe I can add one in later, but I'm just going to say to do add example. And then outside of preload, add example with preload. Outside of preload, you may supply a callback function to handle the object, to handle the data, I'm going to say. And then what I'm going to do here, I'm going to delete this. And I'm going to say to do add example with callback. Wonder why it's syntax highlighting. Oh, because it's inside of this. So this should really actually go probably like here. It's fine. That's going to error on the tests. Okay, so this to do is going to error on the tests. What can I do here? Can I do this? Will that not error? We'll find out. So I'm trying to just add a note here to myself. Let's see what, oh, maybe this will just do. Oh yeah, this is all I need to do. Okay. So this, all I need to do is add, sorry, I need to put this in comments. I'm trying to figure out what it's expecting. It's expecting JavaScript code here, which I don't have ready to put. So I'm going to put this to-do note with a JavaScript comment. Okay. What is this alt? Oh, this is alt text. I think this is like left over from something that's not exactly right. So this is a mistake, I think. I need to like take a look at this. I'm going to leave that there, but this I don't think is right. Let me come back to that. Okay, now I'm going to get my code. So I'm going to change this to loadBytes. And I'm going to go now to the code that I wrote another time. And I've been sort of mucking around with it, trying a few different things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this bit by bit. I'm going to just take out. I was playing around with HTTP2. I'm going to take that out. So I'm going to grab my code, which is this, and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to leave this stuff here. So you're going to see why in a second. Because I actually, what I want to retain this check for the data type argument. So this is some code from loadBytes, which is checking to see, here's an argument. If it's a string, I don't need to worry about this JSON P stuff. So if it's a function and there is no callback, then it becomes the callback. Otherwise, it's the error. And I can get rid of this. And I can say, path should always be arguments index 0. So this is actually, this is probably more complex than it needs to be. So I don't know if this is really necessary, but I'm going to leave this like this. So this is saying like, oh, this is already there. You know what? I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to do this. So this is a nice way. I'm going to leave it like this. This is a way of just checking, are there additional arguments? If so, put them in the right place. Then I don't want to do this anymore. What I want to do is my own, loadBytes code, which is this. And I'm going to paste that in here. Now the difference is I wrote my code with a variable called data. And the convention in P5 is return. So I want to say var return, return equals an empty object. And then when the data comes in, I'm going to say return.bytes equals that array. I'm going to do the callback. And then I also need to, how do I have an error? So on request.onError, this is my guess, equals error callback. So if error callback, so I need to look up the documentation for this. I need to look up the documentation. I'm just guessing. This on request, is there an on error function? O request on load. O request on error on load. Let's look for this. HTTP request. There is a on load. And is there, or does this expect an error? How do I get an error? Error notifications. Add event listener. So maybe I need to do this. Looks like maybe I need to do this for the error. Lowercase on error, but I'm being told that maybe lowercase on error actually works. So let's see if this is a function. HTTP XML HTTP request on error. Yeah, there's an on error. There we go. Equals callback. So that should work. We're going to test all this stuff before I submit a pull request. Don't worry. OK, so now I think I've written my code. I'm happy with it. I don't have the examples, but I have the stuff that's needed for the documentation. I have a little description. I am missing something, though. Weirdly enough, the way that P5 works when you have a function that supports preload is I also need to register that function with loadBytes. Register that function with preload. So this has to go somewhere. Register preload method. Now, where does that go? Does that actually just go? Is that in this? No. So where does that happen in the P5 library? Let's go back to the P5 repository and search for register preload method. And let's look for code. It's in core. Preload methods. Let's see. Yep, it's here. It's in core, so what I need to do is add it to this list. You can see there's no load bytes in this list. So I also need to go to core, which is here under core, core.js. Let me look for load JSON and find that here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right here. Is this in alphabetical order? No, I don't know that there's a particular logic to this order, so I'm just going to put it right after load XML. I'm going to say load bytes. So I think that's probably all I need to do to get it to work with preload. I think that's all I need to do. Let's just see. I'm being in the chat. I'm being told there might be a bug in the way that I called the callback. Thank you for that. So let me go back to files.js, go back to my load bytes, and I am calling the callback with data, which I renamed based on the P5 convention to RET. Okay, so I think that's good. All right, so look, we did it. We're done. Goodbye. I'll see you later. No. There's so much more to do. I think I have written all the code for adding the load bytes function to P5. Now, I've missed two important things. One is I haven't finished writing the example documentation, and two, it's possible, as in that thread, that GitHub issue thread, this isn't perhaps the ideal implementation of load bytes, but it hopefully at least is one that works. So now what I'm going to do is, guess what I'm going to do? I'm just going to run again npm run grunt. So let's just rebuild P5. I also haven't written any tests, so I'll be back when this is done. Okay, this is good. So this is no surprise. There's no way I could have done that without getting any errors. So I got some sort of error. ESLint source failed. So what did I do? I wrote on, so I have some code that doesn't work, that doesn't fit the styles defined by the P5 open source library. Oh boy, there's a lot of stuff. Core.js, line 362, line 362. So let's go take a look at that. Core.js, line 362. Oh boy, what did I do? What kind of horrifying something did I didn't make any changes here. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no, something bad has happened. I forgot. I have Atom Beautify package installed, and it happens anytime I hit Command S, it reformats all of my code with some styles defined by my Atom Beautify, which don't match up with the p5.js library. Whew. So I got to undo out of this. I really got to undo out of this. I'm going to undo out of this. Okay. So now what I want to do here, hopefully if I go back to, because I didn't make any changes up here. Hopefully that's fixed it. Now what I want to do is I want to go to my preferences, packages, Atom Beautify, settings. I want to go down to JavaScript and I want to disable this. Beautify on save. I don't want to beautify this stuff. I could install the linting configure. I could have all this set up in my text editor to check in advance, but I'm not going to. I'm going to uncheck this. I'm going to go back to core.js. Now, why does it think there's still changes in core.js? So let me do something here. Let me say, I want to say git diff source core.js. I just want to think what it thinks is different. Did I commit anything? Oh, it's still, this is still messed up. Can I stash my changes? Yeah. Hold on, I'm thinking. This could be edited out. Oh, it's there. It didn't undo past that. Oh, because I didn't save it. Okay, actually, I did undo. Sorry, I was confused. So I undo out of that and save it. Now I've got to go to files.js. Now, unfortunately, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do something a little bit insane, which is that I'm going to grab my loadBytes function. So I don't care if there are errors that I need to fix there. I'm going to grab my loadBytes function. I'm going to hit Command X to get rid of it. Then I'm going to undo. I'm going to do undo all the way back to how this file was originally. Go away, all my changes. Wow, I made a lot of changes. This is insane. It's a good thing I know. I could use git stash. I probably should just use git stash to like stash all that. Now, okay, now I'm going to hit save. Now this is, if I do git diff, I have made no changes to the p5 library. I'm going to make those changes again. I'm going to paste in my loadBytes function. I'm going to hit save. Now I'm going to go to core.js. I told you this would go awry. And I'm going to look for load.json. And I'm going to add in my loadBytes function. No beautifying is going to happen this time. LoadBytes. And I'm going to hit save. And now we can see core.js has changed. You can see by that Adam changed the color, and files.js have changed, but beautify didn't run, I hope. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to try to run this again, and hopefully, I'm sure I'm going to be back. There'll be some error, other error. You'll see me in a minute when the next error comes up. Oh, Kenneth Lim is there in the chat. Thank you for watching. What time is it? 6 o'clock, all right. Failed, all right. All right, I am back with more linting errors, but at least there are only these linting errors in files.js. So what does it say? Path is assigned a value but never used. Ah, I forgot. Like I've made mistakes in my code here. That this is so good that it has linting, because I created this variable called path, but then here, I'm using file. This needs to be path. This definitely needs to be path here. So that was a mistake. You know, I'm tempted to just run this again, just to do one fix at a time, because that fix might have messed up. Oh my goodness! I think it got. Oh no, it's doing the linting again. So let's see if it gets past the linting this time. It might have just only been. Nope. Okay, more linting errors. Replace get with get. So it wants me to use single quotes. I agree with you. Thank you, P5, for making my dreams come true. This should probably be single quotes as well. Okay, so now that's good. Let's run it again. I probably could run just the command for linting separately, like instead of doing run grunt the whole time. Okay, another linting error. Insert a semicolon, line 752, line 752. Oh, really? Really? Okay, all right. Hey, you want a semicolon there? Yeah, it's the end of this onload being equal to. Is it going to want another one? Yeah, oh yeah, like I have one here. That makes sense. Okay, I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Semicolon. All right, one more. Let's see if it gets past it. Let's see if it gets past the linting. Okay, I'm told to be request for the music. Oh, nope. All right, it didn't get past it. We've got one more. On REQ is not defined. Why is on REQ not defined? I find, by the way, that often when I'm in here, I'm shouting. There's no reason for me to shout. You can hear me just fine. I just like have a total typo. I have this as ONREQ when the variable's name is OREQ. So this, by the way, is good evidence. I have a linting tutorial, by the way, that is out. You can go check out my tutorial about linting. This is why having linting, especially with an open source library, is good. I might have, I probably would have tested this, at least tried to run an example before I submitted the pull request. But this has really helped me clean out and fix a whole bunch of things. Thank you, p5.js, and your linting configuration. Let's try this one more time. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like it's going to make it all the way through. I'm looking at the chat. This we'll edit this part out. Okay, it passed. I rebuilt p5.js, the entire JavaScript library with my new code in it. And in fact, if I go here now and I look, there's a folder here somewhere. Oh, it's probably in git ignore. So it's actually not showing up because my Atom editor is configured not to show me folders. But there is a folder called dist. And I'm going to manually go and look at it. I'm going to go into p5.js under... Wait, it's not there. Under lib? Oh, so hold on. Maybe it's not in distribution. That's if I'm building a release. Sorry. It's under lib, perhaps. Hold on. Lib, p5. Yeah. So it must have built to lib, right? Let me just look in the, I just want to see. I'm gonna say this over again. Yeah, dist is only on GitHub. This is a file that was built today, created at 5:46, today at 6:09. Okay, great. So let me go back here. I'll just start from where here. Sorry for those of you watching this live. Sometimes I do this because I like to edit this into a standalone video, and I can like sort of clean out some of the noise of it, even though it's useful to see the mistakes and stuff. But what I'm going to do here is just come back to here. Fake it. Okay, look, it built. No errors. I have actually now completely rebuilt the entire p5.js library with my new code. All the tests passed, with the caveat that I didn't actually write any tests for loadByte. But at least I didn't break anything else that's in existing tests. No linting errors. My code style is right. Didn't complain at me that I'm missing something important. So I can feel somewhat confident that I've done something that's reasonable. Now, let's look. Let's see. Okay, so let's go into lib. So the built file is actually, you can't see it here because it's actually in, my Atom editor is configured not to show me files that are in git.ignore. But I can actually go here and open it up manually. File, open, lib. This is the new p5.js library that I have now built manually. And there's also this empty example. This is wonderful because I'm going to be able to now mess around in this empty example folder to test, to sort of manually test to see if the code works. So I'm going to open this up and we can see, look, this has been built on March 12th. That's today! 2018, and I can look, like I can do a find. Now Atom might complain at me because it's a really big file, but I can look for loadBytes. Look at this. There's loadBytes. That's not in p5, the code. There's another loadBytes. There's another loadBytes. There's a loadBytes is there. And look at this. Here it is. The loadBytes method actually on line 59,000 something, 575. So this is now a version of p5 library. It's not released. It's not merged. It's not part of the actual p5 project yet, but it did work to build a library. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this empty example. Now this empty example, you'll notice, points to those new built library files. So I can start to test that code. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to terminal here, and I'm going to, where am I? I am in p5.js. I'm going to go into lib. I'm going to go into empty example. I'm going to run a little server just so I can sort of see, oh, there's already a server running. Let me run a server on a different port. Then I'm going to go to the browser. And now I can see, okay, didn't find these files. Let's think about this. Oh, you know why? Because I've got to go. I need to run the server. I need to run the server from this directory, right? Because empty example points to these files. So let me run the server from this directory and go to empty example. Now let's just see. I'm in empty example. Let me do some stuff like create canvas, 400, 400, background 0. I won't make this part of my commit. I don't want the empty example to be part of what I commit, but I'm just messing around the code here just to test. So here we go. I can see, okay, so stuff is running. Now here is the real test. Let me just write the loadBytes function in setup. Okay, this is good. That's an error I want. If loadBytes didn't exist as the p5 library, it would have gotten an error saying, I don't know what loadBytes is. So now I can kind of go, I have some test code on my desktop where I have a data file. This is a binary file with 1,000 cat drawings. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go to empty examples. I'm going to say show in Finder. And I'm going to go to empty examples, and I'm going to paste that in. So now I have a binary file there. I want to see so that binary file is there. And what I want to try doing is I want to say loadBytes cats 1000.bin. So let's just see if I get any error there. No error. This is a good sign. Now, here's the thing. Function, let me put this in preload. So did my preload integration work? Var data, I'm just going to be ES5 for today, equals loadBytes. I'll say let, because that's how I can't say var anymore. LoadBytes. And then I'm going to say console log data. So let's make sure this works. Great. The data is there. That's the correct amount of data. Looking at some of the numbers, I can see that this makes sense. Knowing what this file is, this is the right kind of stuff. There's a lot of black pixels and then some gray and white outlines. So this looks like it's working. And just to make sure preload is really doing what it should, right? It's empty there, but by the time it gets to setup. Now, what if I take this here and put it in setup? Now this shouldn't work, because I'm no longer using preload, right? I'm no longer using preload, so it's empty, but I can add a callback. I can say got data, and I can write a function called got data with an argument data. So this is the callback, and I don't need to set it equal to anything anymore. So this should now, I don't need this draw function. It's nice that that was there. So this should now work. I can see the data is there. That's good. And then I also want to, let's test the error. I'll call it got error. So I have to make an error happen. Let's see if I can think about how to do that. So let me console.log the error. So let's see. So there shouldn't be no error happen. That's good. What if I change the name of the file? There we go. Sketch. So interestingly enough, this is a problem. So it called got error, sketch.js. No, it didn't. It passed the error into got data. So I have a mistake. I have a mistake somehow, because the error got passed into got data. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat. People are messaging me all sorts of things in the YouTube chat, but I'm not really going to be reading it. Okay. So let me go. So here's a problem. I'm finding something that doesn't work correctly. Right? Oh, or, okay, I have a weird idea. I have a weird idea of what the bug might be. Let me go back to files.js. I feel like this craziness that I did is kind of nuts. So I'm going to delete this, because maybe the error callback actually was getting the wrong thing. Let me be more specific here. So let me say equals arguments 1 equals arguments 2. So I'm just going to sort of more hard code in that the path is the first argument, and what I probably want to do is I want to say if arguments.length, this isn't, I'm just going to do this for right now, is greater than 1, then I'm going to make these two other callbacks. And if arguments.length is greater than 1, set that. Else if arguments.length is greater than 2. This is very awkward. Somebody please give me a suggestion of doing this in a way that's more like P5. But let's just, this I know will work. Like no error callback, error callback. So I'm going to write it this way, okay? I'm going to write it this way. And then I'm going to build the library again. And I'll be back once it builds. So this is the thing. I can rebuild the library with my fix to the code. And I'll be back. The P5 way is function path callback, error callback. Right. Good point. Okay. All right. Scratch all that. This way that I wrote it here is totally silly. It would be useful. You only need to do this kind of stuff if I need to sort of, the arguments could come in different orders of different types. I need to test, like there's an optional argument. There's no optional argument here. I'm just going to say path, callback. I don't need to use the arguments array. Let's simplify this and do this, right? So now, these are optional arguments. They will be undefined if they're not sent in. So let me go back and run, whoops. Let me run npm grunt again, and I'll be back assuming if there's an error or if everything passes. All right, so I'm going to let this run. All right. Whenever I hit on the $, it tells me that it isn't available in my area. I don't know what Livingstone is talking about. Oh, you're trying to do the super chat. Don't worry about it. You are watching from East Africa. That is amazing to me. Don't feel you need to hit that $. Just watch, share, enjoy. I'm thrilled to have you here. Okay. All my tests passed again. So now this was a lot of work just to see if that fixed the bug. Let's go back and let me hit refresh now. And good. No, bad. Bad. So that did not fix the bug. So this file, I'm getting the correct error, 404 files not found, but it's still passing the error message, as far as I can tell, to probably because to this callback. So I think I probably need to think about this. Maybe there's an error. Maybe this needs the error. Is there an error callback that is part of O event? Okay, I have to stop and think about this for a second. No, the JS isn't cached because I have that. Right, I should add some console logs in here for sure. Oh yeah, let me just do that. Okay. Thank you. Good point. All right. Let me be really, really sure about this, and let me say console log error, and then console log data. So let me be really sure about this. Okay, refresh. Data. Yeah, it's definitely ending up in the got data function. All right, let's see. Steven writes, there is no error callback argument in onload. You need to check error code. Okay, so this event, maybe what it is that I need to do is does O_event have an error code? Onload. Let's look at the onload documentation. And how do I get the event? Status code and onload. Hold on, sorry. Pause for a second here. Oh, I know. I mean, I could just console log error. Oh, I see. On request status. Okay, so when this happens to me, often what I like to do is go back to a bit of code without the library, just so I can sort of figure this out before I put it into the library. I thought I had done this already, but I hadn't worked out the error thing. So I'm actually going to go back to this version of the loadBytes function, which is what I was working on previously, just as like in a separate file in a P5 sketch. And I'm going to, what I'm going to do there is I'm going to say console.log O_event. I could do this in the library and rebuild the whole library, but let's just go back to there. And I have this sketch running in localhost 8000, and I can see this is the event, and it has, so now let me make that error, let me make an error happen. And what I'm going to do in this sketch, which is basically the same sketch, but it doesn't have the, it's not using the callback, but I think this will be fine. Let me do this. So now, progress event, I think there's a status someone was telling me. Bubbles, cancel bubble, current target, path, return value, load. Something weird is going on. Let me add the callback because I want to do this with the callback. Got data, got error. Well, I don't have an error. We just do got data. Function got data, console log data. Let me get rid of the preload thing. Oops, this is set up. Let me get rid of, okay. Let me do this. Okay. So this, right, so it's coming in here. Why? On request, it's status. So it's not part of O_event. I'm looking at the chat. To see if somebody says something. If O_request status. I can actually get the status in there. Okay, thank you. Thank you, STARAK. Got it, all right. So what I'm looking for, actually I didn't realize, is in here. Let's console log OREQ. Let's console log this variable. And we can see there's the HTTP request. There is a status, and it got status 404. Now here's the thing. So what status do I get if it works? So let's just console log the status, because there could be a lot of different error codes, right? Isn't there an error callback, though? I kind of want the callback. All right. This doesn't seem right to me. I mean, I can keep going. I'm going to keep going with this. So I'm going to put it back to the correct file. 200. That's if it worked. So basically, I can check if anything that's 400 or greater is going to be an error. So I could say right here, if status is greater than 400, maybe greater than 200, then error callback, then I could say error callback, and I guess I could just, right now I could just pass it in an object. So I could pass it in like, but I feel like I should be giving the native error on ready state change function and check there, or even on request ready state. All right, let's see. 500 plus maybe would, oh, on error would be triggered by 500 plus. Oh, so what's, oh, like if the network were down, like what if I turn my internet off? Now you might think, oh no, but it's not reaching out to, oh, what if I get like a cross origin error? All right, let's, oh boy. I knew this was going to become a problem. I got to go, it's 6:30. Someone give me a quick. On errors, network errors for cores. Yeah, I want that. Ah, all right. Okay. You know what? The 404, I really shouldn't care so much because I can make the 404 error a special case because I get the 404 error. Okay, Austin in the chat is sending me a Stack Overflow question. Let's see. How to find out, oh, does not equal 200 would be, yeah. That's much smaller, much smarter. Hold on, I'm off the rails here. Let me just check something time-wise. What's going on here? Okay. That or attach a reference to the request on the result object so it can be checked outside. There was a super chat, somebody's telling me. Oops, I don't know how to find it. Boy, this YouTube interface is insane. Thank you, super chat. Somebody tell me off the rails. Yeah, okay, wait, hold on. Let's stop and think about this for a little while. Why not just check how it's done in outer P5 load functions? Oh, well, why do you have to be so smart about things, people watching the YouTube channel? Good point. Let me check that. Okay. So let me take this out. Let me go back all the way back to what I had. Oh, I'm not even, let me go back to here. Okay. 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 Oh, I should be using fetch. No, the reason why I don't want to use fetch is because, oh, James Flynn, thank you so much. See, now I see it from James Flynn. It even gives me a thing I can click on to see it. Thank you, James Flynn. That's very kind of you. Oh, so I should be using fetch. There's a polyfill in the build process of P5. Okay, hold on. I'm off the rails here. I'm going to go and check. Does load.json use fetch? No, it uses HTTP do. That's why I'm not using fetch. Nobody's using, oh, fetch. The HTTP do uses fetch. I can't. I'll give up. I knew this was not going to work. HTTP do is fetch underneath, though. Okay, it's fetch underneath. Okay. So, but I feel like when I went down this road of using fetch, because I did use fetch at one point. Like, watch. Let's go find fetch. If I go to the MNIST example, I really have to go. This is what I get for trying to do a bonus live stream. In here, in this, right? This is using fetch. Can I use fetch without await and all of this and promises? Global search in P5. Ruben is telling me that uses XML HTTP request. Yeah, I could just go with not checking it to be 200. I was trying to handle... Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you know what? Good point. Okay. So I could go and use fetch. I have to use the promise API. Yeah, but I know it's polyfilled, but it's freaking me out. I know I could use a promise, and that would be okay. Are promises in other? Is there precedent for this though? Like, are there promises used in the code base of P5 at the moment? I know we want to refactor to do that someday. It's too bad you guys are like way behind me. HTTP uses promises? Oh. Because it uses fetch. All right. So let me just do this, since it's not part of... So what I could do is this. Basically, I'm going to grab this. It's basically what I want. So let's try this. Bear with me for a second. Oh, camera went off. So let's rewrite this. I don't need this nonsense. I don't need this nonsense. Oh, but I have the await thing. Oh, it succeeds with any status code. All right, never mind. I got it. We're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to redo. No, undo. Undo then redo. Okay. Yes, I got you, everybody. All right. Redo. Okay. Okay, so now I'm in my example from before, where I can muck around a little bit and not get too stuck. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just check, thank you to the chat for pointing out that this variable inside of the callback onLoad function will give as a status property. Right? I can say console.log oreq.status, and what you will see if I have the correct, right, if I have the correct file name, and I'm going to go to this, I will get the status code 200. If I have the incorrect file name, I will get the status code 404, which makes sense. 404 is an error code for file not found. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to treat that as a special, not as a special case, but I'm going to basically say if oRequestStatus does not equal 200, and I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to say if there is an error callback, I'm going to do this in two separate lines just for right now. I'm going to say error callback. I'm just going to pass in the, I'm going to make up an error message with that status. And so now I need to add file callback, error callback, otherwise call. So, and then I think once I call the callback, I should say return. So now, so it gets out of here. It doesn't keep going back to do the response. So now I should see, whoops, line 12. Oh, then only 2 equals there. Unexpected token line 15. No semicolon there. Okay. sketch.js line. Why? Oh, because I'm not passing in. So I need to pass in, this return should be outside of this if statement, right? So right now, what I did is if I'm not sending an error callback in, nothing happens. If I send an error callback in, I can say function got error, and I can say console.log error. Now, I get this, status 404. So I don't know, that's a little bit weird, but this is something. And now what I want to do is, what happens if I try to use cores? So if I try to use cores, if I try to request a binary file from somewhere on the internet that violates cross-origin resource sharing. So that should give me a different kind of error. So let's try a different kind of error. I actually should have I actually have some binary files right in this particular GitHub repository. And so I have this. So I think if I go to view raw and I take this link, let's see if I pass this in. Now, maybe GitHub actually, I think unless I'm saying raw, yeah, this is not correct. Let's see what happens. I'm definitely going to get an error. Let's see what happens. Cores, it blocked with cores. Okay, good. So I got this error. It wasn't the right URL, but it's just some arbitrary URL that was blocked with cores. But no error callback got called. But now I should be able to add down here on error equals error callback. So I am going to manually execute the error callback here if there's a weird other status, or I am going to just give it the error callback here. And there we go. I got the error here. Sketch.js line 10, it gave me the whole, the whole error, the whole thing here. Frankly, P5 is I'm already getting these errors, so I don't know that I really need to do this error callback. But yeah, so this may be a bit of overkill, but I've kind of looked into this and figured this out. I'm going to now grab this bit of code where I check the status now and go back to my working on the actual P5 library. I'm going to go to files.js. I'm going to go to my loadBytes function. And I am going to add that in here. So I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do actually for right now? I'm just going to say return. Because the truth of the matter is that error is going to be reported anyway into the console. So I think it actually makes more sense for me to just don't go through with any of this other stuff. And I think that ultimately makes more sense. And then here I can also, I don't know that I actually need this, but why not leave this here? All right? So I think I'm going to leave it this way. So this is just like, if it didn't work, don't bother to try to pass it. Although the preload thing, it will get stuck in preload. What will this do to preload? Okay, let's build the library again. Let's build the library one more time. I'll be right back. I'm told not to treat status codes like integers. So its standard is to hang preload if it fails, so this is fine. Okay. So is my not equal to 200 some sort of bad idea? I should just do the less formal in case it gets the string 200. Oh, 200 and 300 are no errors? Oh, 200 and 300 are all valid. Okay. Breaking news from the chat, I'm being told that the status code 300 is also valid. So why don't we just say if it's greater than 300 for right now? Are there other status codes between 200 and 300? 100 is also possibly valid. So why don't I just say greater than, is it really just, let's just say greater than 400. That's really the only errors I care about. Let's run npm grunt, run grunt one more time. I'll be right back. I might want, greater than or equals, okay. And I'm being told that 400 might actually be okay. So I'm going to say greater than and equals. Everyone in the time, I'm seeing so many messages saying greater than equals, greater than and equals, greater than and equals. So let's, now we're, and I think we're golden now. I think we've got it. I'll be right back. Let me send a text message that I'm going to be home late. I'm going to run all the tests. Are you sure, Romula Lino asks, are you sure the API doesn't provide a success boolean that translates from all the codes? I am not sure at all. XML HTTP ready state, triple equals 4. Somebody will comment on my pull request and I'll change it later. The point is, okay, it's done. Let's do some more checks. Okay, so let's see here. Let me check now my empty example again. Let's just first see if it works correctly. So I've got the got data and the got error callback. So I am now going to check the example. And we can see, okay, it works if I give it a nice binary file. If I give it the wrong file name, great, it gives me an error. That's what I want. The callback never happens because there is nothing to get. File not found. That's what I want. Let's see if I give it a URL that doesn't exist. What does that do? All right. Oh, it got a 404, and it also got a no. So this is fine, and it got an error. So that's fine. I'm getting everything I want with the error callback. Maybe I want something more specific here, but I'll leave this here. And then what I'm going to do is let me check preload again. Let me just check, make sure preload is not broken. And so I'm going to say function preload. And let data equals loadBytes with this made up URL. And let's say, let's console log the data. Okay, so now I just want to check preload. This is the preload code with, let me check it first with an actual correct file. Whoops, oh, I don't want to console log the string data. I want to console log the data. Perfect. Now let me check it with a file that doesn't exist. Hangs, and this is the actual, this is what P5 does natively. It hangs if the file doesn't exist. It doesn't keep going. So that's what it should be doing. And then let's, if I get a CORS error, a cross-origin resources, like I try to access some URL, great, perfect. Not found and that error. So this is all perfect. This is exactly what I wanted to do. My tests have passed. Guess what? I'm pretty much done. That was a very loud bell. Okay. So now, what happens now? I want to say git status just to see what's going on in the repository. So, whoa, where am I here? Modified, oh yeah, sorry. So I've modified a bunch of things. I modified empty example sketch.js. That's not part of the work that I'm doing. I've modified core.js. That is part of the work I'm doing. I modified files.js. That's the work that I'm doing. I've added this weird binary file. That's just for my own testing. I don't want to deal with that. So what I want to do now is I want to say git add source core.js, because I want to add these changes to core.js. Then I want to add source io files.js. Okay? Then what I want to do is I want to say git commit. Oh boy, it's going to run something for me. Wow, so and now, it is giving me, now I can write my commit message. Okay, implementing loadBytes. This is relevant to issue 2674. And also, there's another issue that it's related to. Did this get closed? Oh, I think this got closed. This is closed, so I'm not going to tag this particular issue. So then I'm going to write this pull request. I'm not going to say pull request. This commit adds the loadBytes function to p5.js as demonstrated during a live stream on the coding train. There are some remaining issues here. For example, there are no tests. And I am also not using HTTP do, which would be more of the convention here for P5 as discussed in issue 2674. I am also handling errors like 404 or cores in perhaps an odd way and would be happy for any feedback. Okay, so this is my nice long commit message. And what I'm going to do is I'm now going to, so I have my git commit tied to Atom. So I can write a nice long thoughtful commit message. This will all be ignored. This is just information for me. I'm going to hit close. And now I'm going to look at terminal, and the commit has been made to the add loadBytes branch. And now I'm going to say git remote -v. So the remote that this is tied to is the coding train fork. So I can say, I'm going to say git push origin load, what did I call this branch? Git branch add loadBytes, git push origin add loadBytes. So I'm going to push, if I had made this to master, by the way, I could have said push my changes to master to a new branch called add loadBytes. But since I'm in a branch already, I'm going to say git push origin add loadBytes. I forgot dear diary. Should I amend? I definitely think I need to amend that. I forgot. Okay. So here we go. I pushed it there. Now I'm going to go to my fork. Where is it? So many things open. I'm going to hit refresh, and look at this. Less than a minute ago, I pushed this add loadBytes branch. I can now do compare and pull request. I'm going to do it. Compare and pull request. I might as, all right. So this is now saying, hey, I want to pull request add loadBytes from coding train /p5.js to processing p5.js base master. And then I think what I want to do is I want to suggest some reviewers. So Kenneth Lim should definitely be a reviewer. Kenneth Lim posted some great comments. I don't know if, I should definitely add something. So when I did my commit message, it had these like line breaks in it, which are bothering me here. And I also want to add some formatting like this. The backticks to format this. I should say a thanks to for this branch, which was a nice reference for me. So I just want to add a little thank you here too. And I'm going to go back to my code where I kept this URL to remember it. And then I'm going to write, it's okay if this doesn't get merged. Hopefully doing this on a live stream was helpful to somebody. All right, so now we're going to look and see, like, look, there's the change I made. Here's the loadBytes function. Oh, also example code is missing. Finally, I am not using, so I'm rewriting my message. Dear diary, sincerely yours, the coding train. Okay, looks like this URL wasn't copied correctly. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it wasn't either. Nope, it works. This is the correct URL. Okay, so let's now go back and say preview. And this can actually, because of the nice way that it's rendering, this can just go like this. Let's read this over. Implementing loadBytes 264. Dear diary, this commit adds the loadBytes function to p5.js as demonstrated during a live stream on the coding train. There are some remaining issues here. For example, they're under tests. Also, example code is missing. Finally, I'm not using HTTP-do, which is more of a key convention for P5, as discussed. I'm also handling errors like 404 in perhaps an odd way, blah, 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 thanks, blah, 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 blah. It's okay. It's okay if this doesn't get merged. Hopefully doing this on a live stream was helpful to somebody. Okay. All right. I think we're ready, everybody. I think we've now come to the end of this video. I think we've come to the end of this video. Drum roll, please. We are going to create the pull request. And that was a 73-hour and 42-minute video of me attempting to submit a pull request to p5.js live on YouTube. There is a mistake. What's the mistake? Yeah, if there's errors in the commit message, I think that's okay. Somebody was telling me there was a mistake. Happy have to. Oh, happy. Oh, that's fine. Happy to have any feedback. I will just edit my comment there. Thank you. All right, so I don't know, Mathieu. So Mathieu, if you end up watching this live stream, as I know you probably will, I do think that this could get edited into a useful video, and we could probably cut out large swaths of me trying to like sort out the error code stuff. And I wouldn't be, maybe what I'm gonna do just for like later, I'm gonna do something here, okay? I'm gonna, just in case this is helpful, because I would like this to see if this could be 45 minutes or less, okay? I would like this to be published as a video that's 45 minutes or less. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make that happen. I'm giving a quick intro to the video you're about to watch where I attempt to make a pull request to the p5.js project, and what I'm trying to add is the loadBytes feature. Now all that will be explained in the video, but I ran into some like debugging issues that are not really relevant for the pull request aspect of the video. So there's going to be some strange cuts in it of me where I did a lot of debugging in between. You're welcome to also check the video's description for the link to the full hour-and-a-half live stream. But hopefully this video is much shorter and you're going to get sort of like the essential parts of it. Okay? Enjoy this pull request video. All right. Now, definitely don't edit out the Nyan cat. Yes. Now I'm also going to, Miyam Sumi left some review comments already. Awesome. Can I suggest Miyam Sumi? And I guess you have to be a member of the organization to review. I could also request a review from Lauren McCarthy, who is the creator of p5.js. So let me just in case. Hi, it's me, weirdly in the middle of this video. I got really stuck just now trying to figure out how to deal with error codes. So I'm going to cut out all of the research and clicking around and trying to do that and just come back to the point where I figure out, like, let me just implement the error codes this way, just to try to make this video shorter. If you want to see all that in between stuff, this is way too long for a little interstitial. Okay, hold on. Hi, it's me in the middle of this video, weirdly. There's a weird jump cut here because I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what to do with all the different error status codes. I'm going to cut all that out of the video and just get to the point where I add some new code to deal with that. If you want to see that whole debugging section, check this video's description for the link to the original live stream. Okay, keep watching if you want. I don't know, that you could, I don't know if we need that in the middle. Hopefully we just have weird jump cuts and it's fine. Let's take a look at the comments. How do I find the review comments conversation? Oh, okay, great. Thank you for this. So this is great. So Miyam already put in a nice comment here. So maybe I'll adjust that later. Did I say video subscription instead of video description? All right, let me try this one. I've always wanted to do this. This could be the time. All right, we're going to do it this time. I've always wanted to do this. Hold on a second. Green only. Yeah, here we go. This is going to be weird. All right, this video stopped at a weird, okay, hold on. I'm pausing this video because what happens next is me spending like a really long time trying to figure out what to do with error codes and the error callback. And that's not really relevant to the pull request aspect. If you want to see that part, check the video description for the whole hour-and-a-half live stream. But I'm just going to jump now to the part where I figure out what to do with the error codes and continue. All right? Hope you're enjoying this video and you keep watching. Maybe. Goodbye. Okay. So that could get green screened on top, I think, of me, like the video pauses, record scratch sound, I come on in, that type of thing. Okay. I think that's going to work. All right, everybody. So I have to go, but let me make a few important announcements. By the way, people are saying, please meme this. You have no idea. This is not to be memed. Go back and try to find the live stream where I talk about net neutrality. I've got like a whole insane, like 45 minutes of me doing weird stuff in front of a green screen. All right, so I need to talk about a couple things really quickly. Number one, I will be back. I think I only have to talk about one thing. I will be back on Wednesday morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. What I will be doing, oh, and actually, let me shout this out, because this is really wonderful. The STEM Coding YouTube channel from, let's see if I can find this, from Professor Chris Orban at OSU. I'm going to shout this out on Wednesday because I think I'm going to use the tutorial. STEM Coding, if anybody can find this faster than me. STEM Coding, YouTube, Orban. Maybe that'll get me there. Yep, here we go. Okay, so this is the STEM Coding YouTube channel. I want to just look under videos and Pi Day.
Hey everybody.
So this is a YouTube channel that has a lot of wonderful coding tutorials and stuff with P5, and they have a video about calculating all the digits of pi. So anyway, I was looking at this. I might use this as a reference for some coding challenges on Wednesday. I encourage you to check out this video and this YouTube channel. They've got a lot of wonderful students and different people who present. But what I have here is you can suggest a Pi Day coding challenge. I obviously won't be able to do all of these. So you can suggest ones, or you can look through these. And what I would ask you to do, if you like one, put a thumbs up reaction. So let's see. Pi, calculate the nth digit. You're using a neural net. No. I don't think I can deal with that. Visualize aspects that make up pi. Whoa. Okay, I'm just going to pick one to arbitrarily search for words in pi. I like this one. So I'm going to thumbs up this one. So if you like one of these suggestions, put a thumbs up there. Oh, yeah, so people are noticing. Okay, so people are making the point of, okay, let me go back to YouTube STEM coding. I'm going to explain something, because this is only going to come up more and more. If you look at my suggestions on YouTube, you might be wondering, why are these all my suggestions? The reason is I am logged into a YouTube account, which is tied to this email address, codingrainbowlive@gmail.com. And this YouTube is a YouTube account that I've also purchased YouTube Red for, so that if I show a video in the live stream, that the ads don't come up. And also, my kids watch YouTube, and I don't want them to have to see all the ads, so I've purchased YouTube Red so that they don't have to see all the ads. And you can see that this is they like to watch Zelda videos. Zelda is very big in our household right now. Stay tuned for the Coding Train gaming channel where we play Zelda all day. I'm sure everybody wants to watch that. But I was talking about pi. So anyway, submit your challenge ideas, upvote the ones that you like, sort by most reactions. So right now, the one that has the most upvotes is search for words in pi. And I'll be back this Wednesday morning, okay? Hello to Israel. Build Breath of the Wild, probably not going to happen. I hope that this ends up with something. Oh, and Simon Tiger writes, going to make a GitHub issue related to pi. Wonderful. All right, so I'll see you all on Wednesday. Thank you for tuning in. This has been The Coding Train with your host, person who thinks that just making a quick pull request video about loadBytes will just take 45 minutes and then ends up spending like 2 hours live streaming. I've really got to go. It's way after 7. Let me check my messages. Everything's fine. And I'll see you all on Wednesday, okay? Mwah, goodbye. Hello to France. Bonjour. Lots of questions here. Okay, I've got to go. See you all.